My friends say I'm crazy. I'm not. Let me explain why. First, let me touch on a bigger long term vision. The other really important problem I want to solve is the security problem, the fact that WordPress gets hacked so much. One of the main motivations for me is that I myself got hacked, and I couldn't believe how easily I got hacked. Okay, why fix performance problems in the first place? First of all, the short answer is that um, the it is probably possible to make WordPress around 400 times faster. Okay, and here's the actual measurements we did. So we're not just making this number up. We actually measured it, and here's the experiment. Okay, we had a 1 GB RAM server on DigitalOcean. It was a clean install of WordPress. We just did a query or a page load of the hello world, and it could only do 8 requests per second. It's extremely slow. Whereas we did a prototype in Rust that did almost 4,000. Okay, so it was almost 400 times faster. The only problem with this CMS, this prototype CMS, is that it's not compatible with WordPress plugins. So the adoption is going to be very slow. All right, so we thought of a better idea. There's no need to do a whole new CMS. We can just improve on WordPress itself. No need to start from scratch. Just improve on WordPress as it is right now. How do we do it? Okay, the most important trick here. Wait, there are three here, but I'd say the most important one is the PHP extension, which is essentially you can implement functions in C or Rust and have them called from WordPress. Okay, and this is very important because it allows us to start with a working version of WordPress from day one, and on day two, and on day three, and on day 7, 40, 60, etc. Um, it's all working because we can slowly, incrementally migrate code, 100 to 200 lines at a time. Okay. Um, Also, this leads to point number 2 here, which is that you don't actually need to rewrite all of WordPress. We only need to rewrite or optimize. We only need to optimize the performance bottlenecks, which is going to be around 10% of the code. It's not going to be 50 to 75% of the code. Okay. Primarily in two bottlenecks. One is the page list, the other is in the backend dashboard. Here are 3 examples of WordPress code that can be easily written in C. Let's take this first one as an example. It's just a sanitize function for JSON. What do you need? What do you need PHP to do that for? That can be very easily optimized in Rust because the input is very simple. The input is just a string, and you return back a boolean saying, "Yeah, it's good. No viruses here." Okay, 2 plugins that can be. This is another. Like these are very performance critical plugins, and they're implemented in PHP. This is for performance critical code. You want that to be optimized in Rust or C, either one. I think they're done in PHP right now because it's much easier to distribute PHP code. They're not the plugin store is not going to distribute C or Rust. Okay, let's talk about how much work this is going to be. Even before AI, okay, let's say there was no AI. This is a doable project. It might take you. So before AI, how long would it take? Probably, all right, 3 to 6 months, I'd say. With AI, I think you can do it within 1 to 2 months. It helps accelerate. To be clear, we're not going to completely delegate it. We're not going to completely hand it off to AI. The AI is not good enough for it. We are going to use it to accelerate our work, where we translate 100 to 500 lines at a time. But we're not gonna let the AI agent run unsupervised, just for like work on it for a week and then rewrite everything. No, it's not good enough for that. Not even close. All right, so this is an important question. Very important concern. How do you switch back to old WordPress? First of all, this is the answer is yes. It's very easy to switch back. Is using this standard industry practice. It's called a feature flag. Chrome does this a lot. You might have seen it in Chrome, where there's a certain feature. Well, basically, it's the basic idea is that they ship both the old code and the new code. Okay, they're not going to delete the old code straight away. Okay, if the old code is going to stick around for like a year or two or even longer, possibly. what you do is you have a feature flag that enables the user to switch between the two. Okay, and it really is as easy as clicking an on and off button. Okay, if it's on, you run the new code. If it's off, you fall back to the old code. Okay, so just in case, it's just a precautionary measure. Just in case the new code doesn't work out, you can very easily with a 1 minute click just run the old code. So incidentally, this makes it much easier to handle WordPress core updates because the old code is right there. You can just easily merge it in. Very simple merge. And it can be done within a day. Okay, what exactly is the product we want to deliver? This part is not simple because we want to open source it. So how do you monetize an open source project? Let's talk about the free part first. You want to open source this? Probably AGPL. I don't think it really matters, but yeah, AGPL. I want to make it clear, you do not need the paid component to use the project. The two components are this PHP Zen extension implemented in Wordpress C. It's essentially accelerated code. Lastly, you need a fork of WordPress in order to use the Zen extension because we want to optimize the internals of WordPress. The internals, like the JSON, that should be in flat buffers. It should not be in JSON. Okay, let's talk about the paid part. Okay, so for those who don't know, flat buffers is where it's like zero parsing of the input data, okay, which allows for zero mallocs and much faster parse time. Whereas the JSON, you have to traverse the whole structure. You have to parse syntax, etc. Blah blah blah. Okay, the paid part. So this is how we plan to monetize it. And actually, this is a very this is industry standard practice, at least within the WordPress world. Not sure about the greater open source world, but within the WordPress world, seems to be very standard. Same strategy as WP Rocket Elementor Pro is where the source code is free. Okay, it's open sourced. What you pay for is it's an annual subscription, no monthly, but it's an annual where you pay for auto updates. Again, you do not need this to install use the software. All right, let's go through 3 concrete examples of how this would work. Okay, so one is you could manually install it yourself. You wouldn't pay for anything. Or, second example, you pay for 1 year and then choose not to update it anymore. Software still works. Okay, you just don't get any security updates. You don't. If there are updates to WordPress core, you're not getting them either. Okay, the paid component is if you want to auto updates for a year, then you pay. Oh, another example is that you could also manually update it yourself from source code. Then you also wouldn't pay us for anything. Okay, so what do we want exactly? The official goal is around 1250. It might be 1,000. I don't know, but so what? It's not the real cost of this is going to be way more than 1,000. Real question is, do we have customers? The real question is whether we have customers. We don't want to spend 1 or 2 months working on something that nobody wants to pay for. All right, just so you know, you're not giving to random people on the internet. Blah blah blah. You can, yeah, etc. Conclusion. Okay. 2 other crazy ideas you may be interested in. Etc. Etc. There might be more interest for this WordPress security thing. Okay, so if you're more interested in that, please email me. Okay, and if you have feedback, email me here. There's also going to be a Calendly link. You can set up a meeting with me. You can talk for like 30 minutes about whatever you want. All right, thanks. We'll be back at Kickstarter. Bye.